Have you ever looked around and wondered what really separates the people who achieve incredible things from everyone else? Well, today we're diving into a classic book that says it has the answer. It's called The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz, and its main idea? It's kind of revolutionary. The size of your success is determined by the size of your thinking. So let's get right into it. So the book kicks off with this puzzle that we've all probably thought about. You see people with the same intelligence, the same education, the same background, yet one of them just skyrockets to success while the other is just kind of stuck. What's the deal with this success gap? Well, according to Schwartz, it is definitely not just luck. And Schwartz gives us this perfect story to illustrate his point. There's this marketing VP talking about his top salesman, a guy named Harry. Get this, Harry earns 5 times more than the average salesperson in the company. So the VP asks, is he 5 times smarter? Nope, the tests say he's about average. Okay, so does he work 5 times harder? Actually, no, the record showed he took even more time off. So what in the world is Harry's secret? And here it is, the big reveal. The real difference, the thing that separates Harry from his coworkers, isn't talent or just grinding harder. It all comes down to the scale of their thoughts. The sheer size of their thinking is what sets the entire course for their life. All right, so if thinking big is the key, what's holding so many people back? Well, Schwartz gives this problem a name, and trust me, it's a memorable one. He calls it excusitis, the failure disease. The way he frames this is just brilliant. He calls excusitis a mind-deadening thought illness. Now, by calling it a disease, he's making a really powerful point. This isn't some permanent flaw in your personality. No, it's a condition. And like any condition, it can be diagnosed, and more importantly, it can be cured. And this disease usually shows up in 4 common ways. First, there's health excusitis. Using every little ache and pain as a reason not to do something. Then there's intelligence excusitis, the belief that you just weren't born smart enough. Of course, there's age excusitis, the classic I'm too old or I'm too young. And finally, luck excusitis, blaming everything that goes wrong on just plain old bad luck. Do any of those sound a little familiar? And here's where it gets dangerous. Just like any untreated illness, it gets worse over time. At first, the excuse is kind of phony, but the more you say it to yourself and to other people, the more you start to believe it. It gets buried deeper and deeper until it's not an excuse anymore. It's just your reality. So, how do we start treating this thing? Well, the first step is to completely recalibrate your internal belief system. And Schwartz gives us this amazing metaphor to think about it, your success thermostat. This is just such a perfect way to picture it. Think about it. A thermostat on your wall doesn't actually create heat, right? It just sets the limit for how warm the room is allowed to get. Your belief in yourself works the exact same way. It regulates what you accomplish in your life. Let's just look at the difference this makes. Someone with their thermostat set low believes they're worth little, so they get little. They convince themselves they can't handle big projects, so they never even try. But what if you flip that switch? The person with a high setting believes they're worth a lot, and they act like it. They believe they can tackle the big, difficult jobs, and because of that belief, they actually do. So here's the most crucial takeaway. You are the one who controls the dial. A person is a product of their own thoughts. That means you have the power right now to consciously decide to believe in yourself, to believe bigger, and to go ahead and crank that thermostat forward. Now, having a high thermostat setting is awesome, but belief all by itself isn't enough, right? You've got to turn that internal belief into real-world results. And that brings us to the second part of the cure, developing what he calls the action habit. It honestly is as simple as that. Thinking big is where it all starts, but ideas are totally worthless if they just stay bouncing around in your head. The only time they have any real value is when you actually act on them. Schwartz draws this really clear line in the sand here. He asks, which one are you? Are you a passivationist, the person who's always standing on the sidelines, waiting for the perfect moment that never seems to come? Or are you an activationist, a person who just does things, who takes action? Because as he points out, activationists are the ones who end up leading. People are naturally drawn to those who get things done. So how do you build this habit? Schwartz lays out 3 super simple rules. First, just be an activation. Be a doer, not a donor. Make it a conscious choice. Second, stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. Come on, we both know they never will be. Just get started. And third, and this is a big one, remember that ideas alone bring zero success. You have to act. So, when you put it all together, curing your excusitis, turning up your success thermostat, and building that action habit, it all comes together under this one big umbrella: learning how to truly think big. This quote just perfectly captures the magnetic power of thinking big. When you promise victory, when you project that kind of confidence, it's contagious. It makes other people feel inspired. People want to get behind a vision of success, not a vision of doubt. A big thinker just naturally rallies people to their side. And really, this is what it's all about. You have to train yourself to look past the way things are right now and see the potential of what they could be. Don't get stuck on the problems of what is. Get excited about the possibilities of what can be. I love how Short says it: build castles, don't dig graves. And so the core message from The Magic of Thinking Big really leaves us with a direct challenge. It's not enough to just listen to these ideas. The magic only really happens when you apply them. So the final question is for you. What is one big thought that you can take action on right now, today?